My name's Miles, Daniel Miles, and this is a dunking of Spectre, directed by Sam Mendes and starring Daniel Craig. Let's break it down. A cryptic message from M sends James Bond onto a hunt where he uncovers the most deadly organisation he's ever faced. Spectre. Alright, now this is the longest James Bond film in history. It's almost 2.5 hours long. It's the most expensive James Bond film in history. The rough budget is $350 million, but when you factor in advertising, this film is going to cost well north of $500 million. And you know what? It's going to claim back every penny. This film is awesome for about the first 45 minutes. It begins with this awesome scene in Mexico, beginning with this amazing one shot of Bond going on a mission. And even the Sam Smith song isn't as awful, it actually sounds pretty cool. And the video is pretty interesting if you're into certain things. And then we get to the main bit of the film, and if you haven't worked out the bad guy's plan in about the first 15 minutes, I'm going to assume you haven't seen that many spy films. And it's pretty good, I mean it's really good, and I was laughing. They've actually remembered to put jokes in. There are jokes in this, it is funny. He has gadgets, the gadgets are back, the cars look awesome, the girls look awesome, the way it's shot looks awesome, the music's awesome. But the bad guys are rubbish. Christopher Waltz is too light, he needed someone darker, someone more serious. He needed someone a bit more menacing. He's just too light and jovial. Half the time I expect him to pull out a top hat and go into a dance routine. Miscast. Now with a budget of $350 million, you would think they could spring for Chiwetel Ejiofor instead of Moriarty from BBC's Sherlock. Because as soon as you see Moriarty, you know exactly what his role is, exactly what's going to happen. And again, he's not menacing. He's a villain in a Bond film, and to be honest, I've been more threatened by my sofa cushions. Monica Bellucci is officially the oldest Bond girl ever, which is brilliant, except she's on screen for less time than this review's going to last. I've had breakfast last longer. Léa Seydoux plays Madeleine Swann, who is Bond's main girl, and unfortunately, you could pretty much replace her with a sack of potatoes. A very attractive sack of potatoes, but she doesn't really do much in the plot. There's a brilliant chase scene with an aeroplane. Dave Bautista plays up, he's brilliant as a Terminator who takes Bond on several times. No. Terminator, trust me, this guy could take down Jaws. This film jet sets all over the world, and for once it all hangs together, it all makes sense. The plot is consistent all the way through, and you can kind of see what they're going for with the plot, with what the villain's end game is. They're still trying to take over the world, they've just put a new spin on it. But again, it just feels a little anticlimactic, and towards the end I was just sitting there thinking, this is The Dark Knight with Bond's skin on. That's what this film reminds me of, The Dark Knight. And I know lots of people out there love The Dark Knight. It's #1 on IMDb for crying out loud, but this is a James Bond film. Daniel Craig is awesome as James Bond. He's finally 4 films in, 10 years into this, eased into the role, and he's made it his own. He is brilliant in James Bond. And this is a brilliant plot. It's tense when it needs to be, the action's amazing, you've got some brilliant stunts, but the plot is predictable. I love M in this, I love Q in this, I love Moneypenny in this, there's so much good in this film. But as I was walking out and I was coming home and I was thinking about it today and I'm filming this now, this film is See It. It's still a really good time and there's a lot to recommend, but there's just a lot of little niggles that build up into stopping this from being the See It now that I so desperately wanted. In case you haven't worked out by now, I am a huge James Bond fan. This film is guaranteed to be in my top 10 this year because I am such a huge James Bond fan. But I just couldn't give it that 5th star, and I don't know why people are giving it 5 stars. This is an amazing 4-star film, or in my case, a See It film. But at the end of the day, only one fact matters. James Bond will return. I'm Daniel, this is a Donkey. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.